Intermittent fasting, if, has gained wide attention for its potential to improve metabolic health, support weight management, and even extend lifespan. But for older adults, especially those concerned about preserving muscle mass and strength, the question becomes more nuanced. Can intermittent fasting be compatible with muscle health in later life? Or might it accelerate muscle loss when maintaining lean tissue matters most? The answer depends not on fasting alone, but on how it's structured, what it's paired with, and how it fits into a broader lifestyle that includes strength training and targeted nutrition. First, it's important to understand what intermittent fasting actually is. If it's not a diet per se, but a timing strategy, restricting food intake to specific windows during the day or week. The most common methods include time-restricted eating, such as 16:8, where eating is limited to an 8-hour window, alternate day fasting, or the 5:2 approach, eating normally 5 days a week, with limited calories on 2 non-consecutive days. These approaches can improve insulin sensitivity, reduce systemic inflammation, and support cellular repair processes through mechanisms like autophagy, all potentially beneficial for aging bodies. However, muscle tissue has its own needs, particularly in older adults. Age-related muscle loss, or sarcopenia, becomes more pronounced after the age of 50, and if left unchecked, it can accelerate into the 60s and beyond. The key to slowing this decline is a steady input of high-quality protein and regular strength-based exercise. Intermittent fasting, if not carefully planned, can unintentionally reduce total protein intake or make it more difficult to distribute protein evenly across meals, a practice shown to be especially important for muscle preservation in older populations. That's because older adults experience something called anabolic resistance, meaning their muscles don't respond to protein stimulation as effectively as they once did. To overcome this, research supports the need for 25 to 30 grams of protein at each meal, ideally spaced throughout the day. If it results in just 1 or 2 meals daily, it becomes challenging to reach this threshold. In such cases, even with sufficient daily protein intake, muscle synthesis may not be maximized due to suboptimal timing. But this doesn't mean intermittent fasting is incompatible with muscle maintenance. It just means it requires greater intentionality. When paired with a strong resistance training program and adequate protein during the feeding window, it can still support lean mass, especially in individuals who are overweight or dealing with insulin resistance. In fact, some studies suggest that it may help older adults reduce visceral fat and improve metabolic health without significantly compromising muscle, so long as strength training and nutrient timing are prioritized. One smart strategy for older adults is to combine time-restricted eating, such as a 10-hour eating window, with 2 or 3 well-structured meals, each containing adequate protein and micronutrients. This approach offers many of the metabolic advantages of fasting without compressing intake so much that muscle is put at risk. It also leaves enough space for pre- or post-workout fueling, which can make a big difference in recovery and muscle synthesis, especially with advancing age. It's also worth noting that fasting should never come at the expense of energy availability. Chronic calorie restriction, especially without exercise, can accelerate muscle loss in older adults, reduce bone density, and increase fatigue or frailty. The goal isn't to eat less across the board, but to eat smarter, nutrient-dense, protein-rich meals during a sustainable window, supported by regular resistance training, hydration, and recovery. The bottom line? Intermittent fasting is not inherently harmful to muscle in older adults, but it's not a magic bullet either. Used thoughtfully, it can be a useful tool to improve metabolic health and body composition. But it must be accompanied by a structured strength program and protein-conscious eating. Otherwise, the potential gains in longevity could come at the cost of strength, independence, and vitality, the very qualities we aim to preserve with age. Ultimately, muscle is a form of metabolic currency, and in later life, every effort to preserve it counts. If you choose to fast, let it be with purpose, balanced by movement, supported by nutrition, and aligned with the broader goal of aging strong.